Good evening, and welcome to the John F. Kennedy Jr. Forum at the Institute of Politics. My name is Kausar Yasin, and I am a junior at the college studying history and anthropology, and I'm also a member of the John F. Kennedy Jr. Forum Committee. Before we begin, please locate the exit doors on the JFK Park side as well as the street side of the forum. In the case of an emergency, please walk to the exit closest to you and congregate in JFK Park. Please join me in silencing your cell phones, as well as welcoming the co-chairs of the John F. Kennedy Jr. Forum Committee, Kirthi Chigrupati and Tenzin Gunmaru.
Good evening, and welcome back to the JFK Junior Forum. My name is Kirthi Chigrupati. I'm a junior at the college studying government and computer science, and I'm one of the co-chairs of the JFK Junior Forum Student Committee. This semester, we will experience an American election, witness continuing peace negotiations around the world, and continue to reckon with what intellectual vitality looks like on Harvard's campus. The Forum team is ecstatic to bring you a semester's worth of challenging and engaging content.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tenzin Gunmaru, and I am the other co-chair of the John F. Kennedy Jr. Forum. I'm a junior studying social studies and very excited for tonight's programming. Our guest today is the perfect person to kick off our series of conversations for the semester, Taipei City Mayor Wa'an Chiang. He will be discussing how tradition and innovation both play a role in furthering globalization. Today's forum will be moderated by Anthony Sayak, director of the Rajawali Foundation Institute for Asian and Daewoo Professor of Asia and Daewoo Professor of International Affairs.
We would like to thank the co-sponsors of our discussion tonight, the Bloomberg Center for Cities at Harvard University and Fairback Center for Chinese Studies at Harvard University.
Thank you for joining us this evening. We hope you will continue to attend forums throughout the semester as we host conversations about the most pressing topics in the world. Enjoy the forum.
So good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Wa'an Chiang, Mayor of Taipei City. So first of all, I would like to express my gratitude to the Harvard Kennedy School, the Bloomberg Foundation, and the Fairbanks Center for the invitation and arrangement. Of course, I'm also flattered that I'm more appealing than tonight's Red Sox game against Baltimore Orioles. Not everyone may be familiar with Taiwan, but we all certainly live in a world driven by TSMC technology. Not everyone may have visited Taipei, but I'm sure we've all heard of Din Tai Fung's dumplings, xiaolongbao. Is there anyone, have you ever tried dumplings from Din Tai Fung? Right. So Taipei is a wonderland. You can find bubble tea for only $2 US dollars. And you can have delicious fried chicken cutlet for only $3. And almost everywhere in Taipei. So you will soon realize that the people in Taipei are friendly, welcoming, accepting, and a spirit that has been passed down for 140 years. Some have described the United States as a melting pot, while I believe Taipei is more like a hot pot. So have you ever tried hot pot for dinner before? I believe so, huh? So it comes with diverse ingredients and rich flavors. Young people come of age at the Confucius Temple in Taipei. The presidential office is a Baroque building left from the Japanese era. The Dutch and Spanish once came here seeking their roots. Southeast Asian immigrants and their second-generation descendants have become an important part of Taipei's population. And indigenous cultures are linked as far as New Zealand and Australia. This is a city that is both traditional and innovative, Eastern and Western, a truly diverse metropolis. As the mayor of this diverse and inclusive city, I would like to share with you a photo. So this is a cosplay photo of me as a character called Zoro from the Japanese anime, One Piece. And it was taken at the Taiwan Pride 2023. Let me know if you like my cosplay, okay? So before Taiwan became the first in Asia to legalize the same-sex marriage in 2019, Taipei had already held our first Taiwan Pride back in 2003. To this day, you can still see the rainbow-colored tiles in front of Taipei City Hall, which is a symbol of our city's pride. A good hot pot offers you a variety of textures and flavors. Taipei is the same. Our friendliness and inclusiveness cultures allow individuals of different ages, genders, ethnicities, and cultures to live comfortably and to express themselves. So if you want me to sum up all of the above in one word, I would say democracy. Democracy is the DNA of Taipei. We continue to deepen our belief in democratic resilience, while some have described our democracy rambunctious. But I like to think of it this way. Democracy is like a spicy hot pot to people in Taipei. It's not perfect. Its spiciness may make you sweat. But you keep coming back for more. And if you dig in for more, you'll realize there's more in it. So we believe that democracy, freedom, and rule of law provide the bedrock for sustainable prosperity. Through the bonds of democracy, our hot pot remains ever fresh and never runs dry. This way of democratic living creates many connections between Taipei and the United States. For example, voters in Taipei often ask themselves former President Ronald Reagan's famous question, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? As mayor of Taipei, I have been impressed by former President Barack Obama's view that there's not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America. This spirit is also a cross-party consensus within Taipei and the foundation of policy discussions. We may debate intensely, but we always move forward together. This is our robust democracy. The strong cultural ties between Taipei and the US are evident everywhere. Roosevelt Road, which connects many key official institutions and National Taiwan University, is named in honor of President Franklin Roosevelt. The MacArthur Bridge, connecting Taipei with nearby Keelung City, commemorates General Douglas MacArthur, the former residence of the U.S. ambassador to Taiwan, has become SPOT, Taipei Film House, an arts and cultural hub showcasing international cultural works. The former vacation retreat of the U.S. 7th Fleet Commander is now the Jingguo Qihai Cultural Park. So since I became the mayor, Taipei has been more connections with Harvard. But this year, the Harvard World Model United Nations was held in Taipei. And we also welcome 2 outstanding Harvard students to intern at the newly established Department for Youth of Taipei City Government. And I know Jeanette and Isabel are here tonight. Would you like to stand up and say hi to everyone? So how was your experience in Taipei this summer?
Fantastic.
Fantastic. We heard it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Before coming to Harvard today, I also had a chance to meet with Michelle Wu, the mayor of Boston City. Her parents were both born and raised in Taipei. As a father of 3, I presented her with a commemorative card from Taipei Parent-Child Center. We talked about how to build a family-friendly city and also compare notes on how to build a resilient city for our future generations. Whether it's in response to natural disasters, extreme weather, or everyday risks, we invest significantly in reinforcing Taipei's resilience and safety. A concrete example was the 7.2 magnitude earthquake that hit Taiwan on April 3rd this year. It's the most severe one in nearly 25 years. On that day, within 5 minutes, my team and I were all mobilized and prepared to respond, even though the earthquake struck right during rush hour. In Taipei, wherever the mayor is, it is where the Emergency Operations Center is. This incident highlights a common challenge faced by all cities: aging infrastructure. Let me share with you. Over 72% of Taipei's buildings are over 30 years old. There was a research report indicating that if a magnitude 6.2 earthquake strikes directly Taipei, more than 4,900 buildings would collapse. Earthquakes strike without warning, so urban renewal is essential for enhancing resilience. So since last year, we've rolled out 8 urban renewal policies, including an incentive measure called Disaster Resilient Urban Renewal that offers a 30% bonus floor area ratio for buildings that meet criteria in 4 design areas: earthquake resistance, green building, smart building, and accessibility. We hope this will encourage public participation in urban renewal and lead Taipei toward our dual goals of achieving net zero emissions and becoming a safer city by 2050. Another example I would like to share with you is Taipei's original drainage design. Only handle heavy rains of less than 78.8 millimeters per hour. it has become gradually unable to cope with heavy rains and extreme climates. After thorough research and discussion, I made a decision to allocate $200 million over the next 5 years for flood control projects. This will increase the city's rainfall tolerance by 13%, amounting to 88.8 millimeters per hour. We also focus on disaster prevention education, enhancing both the physical and mental resilience of the city. In addition, I believe that every great city is measured by how well it treats its pedestrians. Through coordinated efforts across departments, we have designated this year as the Taipei's Year of Traffic Safety, aiming to reduce traffic fatalities by 10%. One notable example is the redesign of the traffic markings outside a baseball stadium in Taipei. As you can see in the pictures, the green pedestrian refuge area and the organized traffic flow lanes have significantly improved pedestrian safety. And this has earned the local positive feedback and the nickname Picasso markings. Speaking of Picasso, while he may be seen by many of his time as too futuristic, Taipei aims to be a future-oriented city. We are fully committed to making Taipei an AI-driven smart city. As you know, 92% of the world's most advanced semiconductor manufacturing capacity is located in Taiwan. And beyond our critical role in the AI supply chain, Taipei gathers the best talent from across Taiwan, which is why AI giants like NVIDIA, AMD were drawn here. And just yesterday, we released the AI operational guidelines, marking a key step in integrating AI into municipal governance in Taipei. Taipei is the first city in Taiwan to have our own AI policy. Civil servants will now have clear guidelines to assess whether the use of AI complies with risk regulations, thereby creating an encouraging environment for more innovation. Take the 1999 Taipei City Service Hotline, for example. It's similar to Boston's 311. A team of operators is always ready to answer calls, look up information, and respond to all kinds of questions and needs from citizens. But even the most experienced operator would need time to look up specific details, like the garbage collection schedule for a particular neighborhood, which can waste time for both the operator and the caller. So starting this October, we're rolling out a new service that uses generative AI combined with the city government's database. When a citizen calls, AI will automatically recognize the speech, search for the answer, and provide the operator with accurate information in real time. This will save time for both sides and improve service quality and efficiency. To summarize, I believe everyone has already recognized AI's presence in Taipei. I mean, AI is in Taipei. T-A-I-P-E-I. Well, last but not least, I would like to talk about Taipei's role as a bridge, bridging heritage and innovation. I'm a native-born Taiwanese, and I have been fortunate to be shaped by both Eastern and Western education systems. My cultural roots taught me to respect our history and draw wisdom from it. My journey to the West has taught me to integrate my heritage into the process of innovation and create better Taipei for our future generations. During my 10 years in the US, 3 years for law school and 7 years working at a law firm, I experienced a diverse and enriching life. I earned my JD at Penn Law, worked at a law firm in Silicon Valley, even managed to get laid off during the subprime mortgage crisis. It is true. And ultimately, started my own company. These experiences have been invaluable and have deeply shaped who I am today. As a public servant, whether as a legislator between 2016 and 2022, or now as the mayor of Taipei, I draw on this wide-ranging perspective to tackle challenges. My experiences have equipped me with a broader vision, a diversity of perspectives, and innovative thinking. I firmly believe in the power of inclusive governance, which brings together diverse talents and resources. More importantly, it empowers us towards a resilient leadership to address issues such as declining birth rates, aging urban infrastructure, and extreme climates. I will continue to uphold this belief in bridging tradition and innovation, leading Taipei to strengthen its diversity, democracy, and resilience. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's see here.
Thank you, Mary Jane, for that interesting speech. You've actually made me feel very hungry, I must admit. The xiaolongbao and the hot pots it's got to me.
I saw you raise your hand. You have tried xiaolongbao?
Oh, yeah.
Din Tai Fung?
Love it. I love it. One of the first places I head to when I get to Taipei. Certainly, I think there's no doubt that in recent years, Taipei City has become a much greener place than it was before. It's more interesting and more fun. And certainly, I feel a lot safer crossing the road in Taipei than I do crossing the road either here in Cambridge or in Boston. But I have some questions before we open up to questions from the floor. We know that you've been meeting in New York, in Boston.
Yes.
What were the main takeaways from those meetings that you think will help move Taipei forward in terms of the agenda that you're outlining for us?
Well, thank you for your question. So I arrived in Boston yesterday, and we had a chance, my delegation and I had a chance to meet Mayor Wu of Boston City, and we exchanged a lot of topics about city governance. Mm-hmm. And Boston and Taipei are sister cities for 28 years, since 1996. And as I mentioned in my speech, Mayor Wu's parents were both born and raised in Taipei, so I felt a direct connection with the Mayor Wu. So I also shared some of the issues that we're tackling in Taipei. For example, both cities are facing the issues of climate change, extreme weather. So I told Mayor Wu that the drainage redesign system projects that we're working on, I had a thorough discussion with my team, then decided to allocate $200 million for the next 5 years to, make the rainfall tolerance much higher by 13%. And what Mayor Wu and her team also share their strategies to make Boston more green, to find more green places. And while Taipei and Boston, we also have the goal to become net zero emission, carbon emission city. I mean, this is our goal. And also, I shared how we reduce the temperature of the city because it's getting hotter and hotter every year. So we have a cooling plan in Taipei, also by increasing more green places. And all the new buildings is to make sure they use the materials that is energy saving. And also, in terms of transportation, we have the U-Bike, which is the sharing bicycle system in Taipei. And we just had the first 30 minutes for free, just to encourage citizens to use the U-Bike. And it turns out pretty well. It's better than what we expected. It turns out 22% citizens who used to drive cars or motorcycles now transfer to use U-Bike. So that's our purpose. So both cities will work very hard to reach the carbon neutrality goal, cooling plan, how we encourage citizens to use public transportation. And Taipei, we decided to, strengthen our drainage system. And also, what Boston did that we can learn from is Mayor Wu said Boston right now is a global hub of innovations, especially biomedical field. And also, I think Mayor Wu mentioned Boston is the #1 of the number of venture capital firms, institutions. So they focus on the climate innovation, which is something we would like to have further collaboration with Boston, because we have a vibrant startup ecosystem in Taipei. We have great talent, and we have top-tier innovation team in startups. So we would like to help our, make our team come to Boston to get some resources, training, so that they can use the most advanced technology and expand market here. And vice versa. We welcome all the talent here from Boston to Taipei, so that we can have more exchanges and cooperations. So it's a fruitful meeting. We both learn from each other so much. So we really appreciate Mayor Wu's time for meeting with us out of her busy schedule.
No, it sounds great. And it, as you say, it certainly opens the potential for further collaborations. And it looks as though that's mutually beneficial. Some of the things you talked about in your presentation, I think certainly would be useful for Boston to think about. Some of the things doing safer city, less violence, how you deal with inclusiveness, demonstrations, and so forth. Let me ask a couple of tougher questions, though, before we open up to the floor. First is energy. Taiwan has to import 97% of its energy. I just wonder, as being a global city, a dynamic city, how are you going to deal with that? It's quite clear that the president's party has totally rejected use of nuclear. As far as I can see, the plans for 2025 for renewables really haven't taken off. So that must be, I would think, a huge concern for you as the mayor of Taipei. How are you dealing with that challenge around energy?
Well, that's a good question. In Taipei, well, at least this year, we did experience a few times of the shortage of the energy. That's the fact. And secondly, Taipei, because we have a few science parks, Neihu Science Park, and we currently are working on developing the Shilin-Beidou Science Park. So providing sufficient energy is so important to Taipei. And third, we noticed this problem. So we tried our best. I mean, work on, we call 节能储能创能, to save energy, to storage the energy, and try to generate energy by ourselves. So, and use a diverse energies, like green energies, gas, and also.
So is the city developing then its own energy capacities in those areas?
No, not really. So then I'm telling you, because we have talked to the central government that it is so important to provide sufficient energy to Taipei. So we will definitely work hand in hand closely with the central government to solve this issue. And we really want the central government can really consider, we really need sufficient provision of energy. So, so I think they hear it. But as you said, it will be a big move. So we really hope, to consider that citizens in Taipei, we really need 民生用电, and also for those companies, especially we have complete AI supply chains, all those companies, they want to build maybe R&D centers or even data centers in northern part of Taiwan. So this is so important. And we will definitely work closely with the central government.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's really the crucial question for Taiwan's future development that unless it's resolved, it's going to result in all kinds of blockages and bottlenecks. What is TSMC going to do if it doesn't get the energy, et cetera, et cetera? Let me move on to a couple of other questions. I was struck when you mentioned about democracy and the role that's playing in Taiwan now and in Taipei with your election. Of course, this country has an election coming up soon. One of the big challenges, and this is why I wondered how you dealt with this within the Taipei city, how have you been dealing with electoral misinformation? Because we do know that Beijing has been trying to interfere. I know, obviously, for the presidential election, but was this also an issue in the local Taipei mayor election of having to deal with this information, of interference by outside parties? And if so, how have you been, trying to protect that to move forward?
Yeah, I understand. Definitely, there are some attacks from like mainland or from, maybe other places during the elections. So the cybersecurity is very important to Taipei city government, and we work very hard on that, and we put a lot of budgets on this. And so this time, our commissioner of IT department is with us in our delegation. So definitely, we don't want any other factor to influence the elections of Taiwan, no matter it's local election or presidential election?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, every country is now dealing with those challenges. And, you know, there was a great exhibition down at MIT showing AIs that were fake and trying to pick them out from what was real. I don't think I got a single one right. So, I mean, obviously, it's a kind of huge challenge that you're going to have to wrestle with. Another question while we're sort of on the issue of politics. You are a young, a dynamic new leader for the Nationalist Party, for Kuomintang. And you've talked about bringing in kind of fresh air, fresh ideas. And yet, KMT does well at the local elections. It's done reasonably well in the legislature, but it still can't take the presidency. And I wonder how much you feel that is because there's a residual view when it gets to the national election, which moves away from local politics, that somehow the KMT doesn't have a clear identity vis-a-vis cross-straits relations, and is still perhaps seen as too potentially pro-China. How do you think your party should be thinking about that? How do you think about that? And what kind of new dynamism are you wanting to bring into rejuvenating, in many ways, the Kuomintang?
Well, that's a big question.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, Professor just mentioned that what KMT probably does well in the local election, but cannot win the presidential election. It depends. Not really. Because, well, first, for example, as far as I remember, in 2010, KMT won the local elections. We have the, at that time, Wudu, okay, 5 major cities. KMT won 3 out of 5. Then KMT won the presidential election in 2012. Okay, so we had great performance in the local election and won the presidential election. And secondly, you may take the example of the most recent one. The KMT did well in 2022, the year I was elected. We did quite well in the local elections. And then, but DPP won. KMT lost in 2024 presidential elections. But remember, even, we didn't win the presidential election in 2024, but President Lai didn't get the majority votes. Okay. And third, scholars and experts, they have various theories about, well, like, for example, it's called pendulum effect, like swing, you probably win this time, lost next time. Or the snowball rolling effect theory, that's what I heard, probably you're the expert. But no matter what theory it is, the basic core is, as long as you perform well, you degrade, you earn the trust from the people, you are be likely to win the election next time. So, your question is, well, how the KMT to win the next presidential election? I would say, right now, all the leaders, all the mayors of the cities of Taiwan, we should just work very hard, fight and serve our citizens, work for our people. To perform well, to do well, then we'll definitely have the chance to win the next presidential election.
Great. Yeah, we academics are very good at producing theories that are totally divorced from reality. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, I think it is still, I mean, there does still seem to me to be that difficult step between managing well at the local level and still gaining the presidency. And of course, Mr. Mainjo was from, I would say, in a way, from a different generation of Kuomintang leaders, perhaps with a different perspective from what many people, younger people, particularly in Taiwan, think about and feel about today. And that's why I was sort of interested when you're talking about bringing kind of new ideas, fresh blood into the party, which I think is really important and very valid. I see that time is ticking its jolly way along, so I'll save you having to answer that difficult question again. And what we'd like to do is actually open up to questions from the floor. There's a microphone here and there's a microphone there. So some just simple guideline rules. Just tell us who you are. It's not for speeches and statements. And do try and remember that in my memory, a question usually ends with a question mark. So let us start with this gentleman here. And then feel free also to come to this microphone.
Nice meeting you, Yuan, and welcome to Harvard. My name is Qi Xuan. I'm a dual degree student with Stanford Business School and Harvard Kennedy School. And in January, I have a privilege to actually go to Taipei to observe the leader election. And unfortunately, the KMT lost. I want to bring back to my question back to the Professor Sage part. And like a lot of criticism about KMT is that the KMT no longer represent the young people compared with the DPP or the TPP. And as one of the great young leaders in KMT, what is your plan, let's say, to make KMT younger again, or make the KMT like greater again, if that is and
Thank you. Do you want to try and take that on?
To make KMT greater again?
And younger.
We're all looking forward to the debate tomorrow, huh? Well, thank you for your question. Well, definitely, we should attract more support from young generation. But the question is how? That's a big question. That's a big question. So, as you can learn from my speech, we want to bring more innovation into our policies. And also, the young generation, they don't really have, 政党倾向, okay? That's what I heard from young people under the age of 30. But they just want someone they can trust. They have a consistent standing on certain topics. So I believe, and I really think, KMT should be open-minded, more open-minded. Open our arms, welcome all the talent. No matter, his background, his or her family backgrounds, or whether he or she got well educated. As long as he or she is a talent, then we should welcome them join us and give them opportunities to help KMT younger and greater. Because most of the time people criticize KMT that we don't really give opportunities for young people. We just give orders to young generation. We should totally change that and change the mindset. And that's something I'm currently doing now. And well, I can tell you, so this time there are some of the counselors from the Taipei City Council, and the speaker is here. Can you please stand up so that you can know they are really young? So that's what we are doing now. Yeah, and also the commissioners from Taipei City government, can you please stand up? So, yeah, so they're also young. We try to bring more young blood, full of energy and passion, so that they can really know what young people are thinking. It's not that easy to, bring young talent to the government, especially, we have to deal with a lot of bureaucracy and red tape, but we have to do it. And I'll do my best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, speaking as an old man, I'm very sympathetic for that idea. And I think one of the interesting things is that having served as the mayor of Taipei, you have to be inclusive.
Yes.
I mean, if you're going to represent all the folk in the Taipei area, that's got to include members of TPP, DPP, and so on and so forth. And so in that sense, it could be a kind of good learning ground for the party about how do you build those bridges that cut across. Is there somebody? Yes, a gentleman here.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for being here. Housing crisis.
And sorry, you are?
Sorry. I'm a policy student here at the Kennedy School, and my focus here is infrastructure and housing policy. So my question for you is, right now, all over the world, we see a housing crisis in different parts of the major cities, and young people are having a hard time, getting housings. So I think that I know that problem is also, in Taipei. I'm wondering what kind of strategies and ways you can address this crucial policy problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, first, we have been committed to providing social housing, building and providing social housing, not just for young generation who always have hard time to find living place in Taipei, because we have very high living price, in Taipei, probably the same here in Boston or Eastern Coast cities. And secondly, we just established a new department, Department for Youth, and the Commissioner of Department of Youth is here. And we want to, focus on the policies helping young people in Taipei to solve their living problems, helping them find jobs, and even education, all these topics, that the young generation really care about. It's really hard to set up a new department of Taipei City Government, and it is probably the one, the new department since a long time ago, I believe. So we overcome a lot of obstacles to establish the department. So social housing, a specific department to help young generation. And also, third, I would say, we try our best to make Taipei City more convenient by taking public transportation. So currently, we're building, we already have a very convenient metro system in Taipei, but still, we are building 6 lines right now. There's construction going on. So we just want to make people to use public transportation, especially like petrol system. And also, the young people, if they live near Taipei City, maybe New Taipei City or Keelung City, they can take public transportation into Taipei. It's more convenient for them. So there are so many initiatives we're working on, and you are correct. The living price is so high, and it's always been an issue for young generation. But while working on that, we hope we can solve the problem for young people.
I'm glad to see the Commissioner for Youth looks sufficiently young. We have a gentleman up there, and then I think we have a lady over here for next, please.
Thank you, Mayor, for your insights and energy. My name is Ricardo de la Fuente. President Kennedy once said that when written in Chinese, the word crisis, one syllable represents danger and the second is opportunity. What is your country's greatest danger and what is your country's greatest opportunity? And what has been your toughest day on the job? And how did you get through it? And what was the best day on the job and why? Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your question. The greatest danger, of course, for Taiwan is, our national security, right? I think it's also to the United States and, each country. While we do get the threat from the China authorities, right? The mainland China. But also, you said, what's the biggest opportunity? Well, that's probably also an opportunity for us. If we can maintain a peaceful and stable cross-strait relations, it will not only benefit two sides, but also the region. And I believe it is also in line with the interests of the United States and even all other countries, region in the world. So I believe that's the biggest threat, biggest dangers, and it is also our opportunity.
You also have a relationship from the city of Taipei with Shanghai.
Yes, we do.
Does that help in lines of communication and understanding?
I think it helps. Well, first, let me tell you, Taipei and Shanghai Twin City Forum, we held this forum since 2010. Last year, when I became mayor, I visited Shanghai, participated in the forum. Taipei-Shanghai City Forum is now the only official communications channel between two sides. Secondly, two cities, Taipei and Shanghai, we focus on municipal governance issue based on the principles of we call 对等尊严善意互惠, the principles of equality, dignity, goodwill, and reciprocity. So, and no one wants to see conflict or even war. So we will do our best as the capital of Taiwan to maintain peace and stability and prosperity. So we think we will be the contributor of peace and stability, the guardian of democracy, freedom, rule of law, and also the promoter of sustainability and innovation.
Great. Yeah, I've always found that when you talk at a very practical level with officials, whether it's on the mainland, about who actually collects the garbage and who gets the blame if the garbage doesn't get collected, it's a very similar language, actually. Yes, please, up here.
Hi. This is Teresa, and I'm also part of the Harvard Kennedy School focused on international development. So we know President Xi got reelected for his third term a couple years ago, and under current political circumstance, would you anticipate more conversation between Taipei and Beijing? And do you think there is possibility for Taipei to bring more democracy to mainland China as well?
We would love to share our successful democracy story with, with the world. Yeah, definitely. Well, and secondly, as I said, we would hope to see more pragmatic dialogue and communications between two sides. And Taipei and Shanghai, we have this Twin City Forum, and I found this very important because through this communications and dialogue regarding even about city issues, topics, we just want to have those communications to prevent well, to avoid some misunderstandings or miscalculations. So it's really helpful, pragmatic dialogue and communications.
Is there someone at that microphone or no? Or otherwise there's somebody waiting up here, I think. Yes, please.
First of all, thank you so much for coming to the forum and for such a great conversation thus far. Taipei is definitely on my bucket list now.
Great.
I am, again, just to introduce myself, my name is Kausar. I'm a third-year undergrad at Harvard studying history and anthro, and I'm also Uyghur American, so that interests me a lot in Taiwan's future relations with China. And earlier this summer, there was, of course, chaos whenever there were chamber reforms being discussed at the Legislative Yuan. And this kind of speaks to broader polarization in Taiwan's domestic politics, as well as a growing generational divide. So what role do you see Taipei playing, and what role do you see these divisions playing as well in Taiwan's future with China, as well as Taiwan's democracy? Thank you.
Right, so, well, first, I would say 两岸关系越紧张、越艰困，越需要沟通跟交流。So that's why we see Taipei and Shanghai Twin City Forum is so important. So we definitely want to hold this forum every year. So 1 year in Shanghai, 1 year in Taipei. So this year, well, being Taipei, because last year was in Shanghai. And secondly, you mentioned the polarized parts and the Legislative Yuan, the Congress in Taiwan. So I think, there's not really a role that Taipei city government can play, because we're a local government, but there's something we can share with, because our speaker of Taipei City Council is here, and under his great leadership, we sometimes have intensely debates, on different topics, but we always get the consensus through communications and reasonable, thoughts about all different kind of topics. So I would say more communications and be reasonable, be rational on the issues. There's always chance to reach consensus. But there's really no space that we can really intervene the Congress, the Legislative Yuan of Taiwan.
Maybe for those who don't speak Chinese, if you just wanted to say what the first comment was about when tensions rise across the states.
In Mayor Jiang's speech, he briefly mentioned a few words in Mandarin. So he was saying, just even though the cross-strait relationship is at its intense moment, it definitely needs more communication. It's more intense, more communication. Basically, that's what he said in Mandarin.
Thank you. We're getting awfully close to the bewitching hour, so I think this is going to have to be the last question from the person standing here.
Thank you very much. I'm Jason. I'm a sophomore. You talked about the hot pot of Taiwanese democracy. Exactly 1 week after the arrest of your predecessor on corruption charges, I wanted to ask you when you think, the controversial arrest, when do you think is the proper role for legal authorities to intervene in the democratic process? And with respect to politicians?
When is the
appropriate moment for legal authorities to intervene in the political process? He's talking about the arrest of your predecessor.
Well, what rule of law is the principle we follow. we uphold. And I believe the case is under investigation right now. So we definitely respect the result by the court. That's what is rule of law is. So yeah, so we'll just respect the result from the judicial body. Yeah, that's, well, we'll just wait till then.
We're all waiting for that. Okay, so please everybody join me in thanking again Mayor Jiang.
Well, thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
Raimondo. Gina Raimondo served as the U.S. Secretary of Commerce from 2021 to 2025 and the Governor of Rhode Island from 2015 to 2021. As governor, she focused on workforce development, infrastructure, and economic revitalization. At Commerce, she led major economic initiatives like the CHIPS Act to strengthen domestic manufacturing and tech competitiveness. Her experience at both state and federal politics is what gives her such a unique, practical perspective on what drives sustainable economic growth. Moderating tonight's forum is Jeff Liebman, the director of the Taubman Center for State and Local Government and the Robert W. Scrivener Professor of Social Policy. His research focuses on government performance, on public finance, and social policy, bringing this forum a deep expertise in how policy decisions are shaping our everyday economics. So please join me in welcoming tonight's guests with a warm round of applause.
Thank you, Natasha, for that